switching it up now. It's just not where you want to be, but it looks like they're going for an all-out pickaxe battle. Vico is going to be the loser in this case. Benno Flixie now left to play it out as a duo. Could this be the first match that Malabuka and his trio clean this one up quickly?
Venno and Flixie immediately fall back, though, to try and provide a little bit of cover support, but Ping doing what he can to prevent this double revive. Still, it won't be enough. And Vico actually did get some of the goods before he was pickaxed down. Venno, Flixie, Vico. Now a steady trio, but both sides wanting to at least get a little bit of shield going. And Flixie, it's the fact that they had to forfeit the high ground, though, inside of the mansion. Walk's gonna drop to Flixie's level, but won't be able to find a knock. Venno kind of lurking on Walks, creeping up the stairs, opens with the shot. The infiltrator doesn't bring him knock damage he needs. Walks just hidden inside the bathroom. Will be forced to use Memis grenade, take advantage of the slurp barrel, but this is still very awkward approach here for Ping. Doesn't want to get double teamed, so he's opting to just fall back.
Interesting start. To be fair, I mean, it looks quite even now once again, but they saw what happened when the match took a while to kind of, well, I guess the battle took a while to conclude. Both trios were able to make it close to the end game. Malabuka's trio actually getting fourth, so they could just try and play it out slow once again. But the difference here, Taco, as you just saw, is that it looks like Venno, Vico, and Flixie might be the ones, well, will be the ones to actually get the vault this time around.
Vault control. It's just going to be a nice swing of resources for Flixie, Venno, and Vico, but Malabuka and them might decide to just hold them inside of the vault. No, they have other intentions. They're just going to leave. They don't want a part of Lone Wolf any longer. They're going to give up their POI and try to find success elsewhere. And we've seen them do it in the two lobbies that they have made it from the off spawn. So can never really count them out. Chicho, Atris, Tayson probably regretting taking that launch pad just now. They were trying to bail out of Kappa, but now they're just going to be chased down. Chicho doesn't even have any materials, really, so these teams just focusing him.
They started off so strong, too. They got fourth place in all three of the first matches. Not fourth place, but top four at least. And their first match where they didn't get a top four was this most recent match. And now if they fall once again, that whole comeback that they started doing might fall. But Ivan, how do you not win those? Chicho is now left in a 1v2. He's got the chug. He's got a bit of mats. Is it a possibility, though, Taco? Can he make a dream come true?
If you're gonna step to some of the best, you best step correct. And Chicho, that put down onto Ivan. Now seeing if he can have similar luck up against Cade, but 2 versus 1. Surely this goes the way of Cade and Aryan. Still, Chicho not making it easy. Working his way around these builds. He's got both of them in his sights, but doesn't find the immediate knock. Maybe if he'd gotten one of the two from that last shot, there might have been a glimmer of hope, but instead, that's going to be a shutdown for it. Tayson, Chicho, and Atris. They're going to have to wait out for that Gain 12 battle bus to try and build their position on that leaderboard.
I had faith, to be honest. I had faith. After that first dealing, I was like, okay, I see you. As we go back over to Chino, Pablo, and Fredoxy, luckily enough, they are uncontested once again, so en route to continue with their lead for first place. Savage, Vidil, and Reason. They were able to pick up a bit of eliminations in the last match, but ended up getting elimed before that late game, so if they get snuck up on this time around, it's going to be tough. Savage is completely alone here.
Oh, he has no idea.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I hope you make the right decision on where to walk to next here, Savage.
Oh, Mr. Savage. Please. You don't want it. Not like this, right? Not like this. This is not the way that we want to see Savage leave this lobby, and still seemingly unaware of the dangers that are directly next to him. Chino, Pablo creeping Slight sprint, then back to creeping up onto Savage's current position. You can feel the 3-2-1 building. Savage, he just wanted the mats, loses a good chunk of his shield instead, trying to scurry on out of here, but Gino with the cutoff. That Sub-Zero kit doing him a huge favor. Now jumping immediately on top of Savage's head, and Gino, he's just trying to make sure that he can confirm. And sure enough, Savage will fall. Reason and Vidil are now going to be forced to disengage entirely. Have to play through the reboot too. It's tough scenes.
For Pablo, for Doxy, and Chino, they've done a great job finding these eliminations early. I mean, they're not opting to just kind of go for that surge-based strategy. They have been playing aggressive and looking for those full-on eliminations. Now they've picked off one. They can, you know, choose, do they want to hunt the duo or do they just want to continue with their loot path? Also depends on how these zones pull, but Reason, as you can see, is making a bit of a statement here. And hey, come on up if you want, but I'll be ready.
But he has to spend so much time waiting, and they will get the reboot off almost immediately. But Savage has to start all over. He had just invested a decent amount of the early game towards looting up that armored van, trying to get some materials from Southern Pines area, and right back to square one from that jump scare that Pablo, Gino, and Ferdoxy decided to produce.
Yeah, it's tough. That's honestly tough. Ended up being kind of like a loot llama there in the end. Have to do it all over again. But hey, at least, you know, they're back in the game and they can... Could be a lot worse, right? We've seen worse matches been, you know, come back from, especially what we saw from Malabuka and Vico's battles, still being able to make it. So Vanya, Marius, and Pixie have been uncontested throughout this whole weekend, which has benefited them heavily. Also, you know, their north zones might have helped a little bit, but they're still not in that first place. Not only do they want the qualifying spot, but being in third right now, they want to see what they can do to hold that and potentially even, you know, surpass the Malabuka there for Doxy, but they will need a big game if they want to get first. With the amount of points that now for Doxy, Pablo, Chino are leading by, it's going to be a lot more difficult to catch up to them.
Take a look at what's building in Magic Mosses, though. Veno's team likely just trying to get control of this black market. It's located nearby. They'll have to deal with Sandguild first, though. It's threatening. A little bit further north of where Veno's team is boxed. And they're not the only ones either. Plenty of traffic surrounding Magic Mosses right now. Vico trying to keep a lookout as best as possible. But if they spend too much time here, they might get caught in congestion that they were not bargaining for. But they love a good fight. They're definitely a scrappy team, and they're a team that knows how to close those fights too.
And over once again at the Pablo, Chino, Ferdoxy versus Savage, Vidil, and Reason. They're getting up close and personal once again, trying to get the back-to-back, the 2 times. Sneaky play. Be difficult to be successful again. I mean, hopefully Vidil, Reason, and Savage are kind of looking out for that.
They've definitely got their surge bases on top of the mountain span, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be completely safe, especially if they have no idea that Pablo, Chino, Ferdoxy are just crouch walking all around this tunnel area. Certainly being cautious, though. They really just want to steal the van and go. That seems to be their primary intention. And now, with the being on the move, it does appear like Reason, Savage, and Vidil, they don't want to let their ride go, but they don't have a choice. They're just going to have to watch them bail out.
Got robbed. It's all good, though. At least they're still up. Thomas Panzer and Uppel have been having a bit of trouble throughout the day. They've been managing to stay just on the cutoff, but I don't think they've even made top 10 once today. Although Walks now is going to pick up an elimination here onto Shark.
It's actually crazy how easy he made that look. Against Shark of all people, just Goes to show, no, Riley, Trulex, Shark, they were not anticipating to have company this early on here at Foxy Floodgate. Ping and Walks still lurking, though. It's going to be a tough duo operation, but the 2 versus 2. It's a little bit more evenly cut. Mustache, Swizzy, Queasy, just trying to take advantage of where Thomas's team is currently at, fighting inside of the storm now. They need to get even more points if they want to continue being a threat towards that top side of the leaderboard. And Panzer, good chunk of his HP gone now. I'll have to hope that Uppel and Thomas can buy him even more time. But Thomas is just slow and steady. Might have an opening onto Swizzy, but just short. Turns it around though, and Swizzy will be knocked. Thomas wasting absolutely no time now. Mustache heavily threatened. They've got the numbers advantage. They go from being hunted to hunters, and this is an ideal situation, working their way through Kappa Kappa, because they can continue playing tag with Queasy's team. When they go for the reboot, they'll know we've got this trio right behind us. We'll just trail them and continue applying damage to them every step along the way.
I was going to say, not again. Not again. Thomas, Uppel, and Panzer going down early. 23rd in the last match. Like I said, they haven't got top 10 once today, but because they performed so well in day one, they were able to kind of stay in that qualifying range for the global championship. But they do need a good match here. They're now in 8th, so they are not in that range no more. But, you know, there's the start of exactly what they need. They just cannot throw it away.
They're also going to have to find some whites somewhere along the way. Thomas HG only has 90 left inside of this current Chug Jug. And it seems like they're still scoping out the vicinity, trying to figure out where Queasy's actually gone off to. Thomas, if he's not careful, though, he could be picked off. But Queasy seems a lot more preoccupied with just trying to stay alive. He's not really interested in taking this immediate fight. Thomas wants a faster means of rotation, though. And Queasy, unfortunately, can't. Oh, he might have just found Niels right at the last second.
Good for now, but yeah, it's going to be tough to come back from. Noah Trulex trying to see if they can catch Walks and Ping here. Just kind of snuck in the corner, but Noah's going to go down from the 2v2 to now Walks and Ping with 3 elims on the board. This is a amazing way to put themselves in the game. They need this match, Taco, and with odds not in their favor, this is a good way to set themselves up.
It'll just be the 2 of them, so it's going to be a rocky road. We've seen them manifest it from similar positions before, even in the last major. For Doxy, Pablo, and Chino, though, they are elevated at Shiny Shafts, just exchanging blows with some teams that are also based up in their Surge Mountains across the way. It looks to be Sky and Marius's teams, all in their separate Surge bases. But things are relatively quiet right now at Shiny Shafts.
All the top 5 trios are still up and running. It's going to make it that much more difficult for the teams trying to push themselves in that cutoff for the top 7. Currently at 446 points going into this match, but with Tace and Chicho and Atris being eliminated, you know, it opens up a chance for the other teams a little below them.
And another one for Pablo Wingu. Hey, you gotta make sure that you're staying up to date with some of your balloon fights here. Okay,
Yeah.
Cringe and Kiruo though, they probably keeping tabs on what Pablo is up to. Pigstorm and Demas, so big surge up leaderboard after that Victor Royale in the last match, Takata. And they are certainly trying to confirm their global championship seat. This is easily going to be one of their best opportunities. They're so close they can taste it.
They really can. I'm excited to see how this one plays out. If you're not familiar with Pix, Darm, and Demus, they played in the first major finals last season, somehow qualifying. And not only that, they got 5th place from being the underdogs to now top tier competitors on EU, going into today and even, you know, these major finals once again. A lot of people kind of have them on their radar and they're in that qualifying range. So seeing them in the global championship would be amazing.
Still a bit ridiculous, though, to think. We're checking back in with Marius's team, and they've got 3 victory royales in total across this weekend, Takata, and yet they are still in that 3rd place position on the leaderboard heading into this 11th lobby, and you just know that they want the extra 2 spots up ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they were 1 spot off qualifying in Major 1, literally 3rd place when the top 2 qualified. They had a 12% win rate in the Div Cup finals. They know how to win matches. They can win those matches, but they've been lacking in, you know, the constant top 10s, the constant top 5s. But those wins have been helping them, you know, keep themselves and planting themselves in qualifying range to the global championship. But, you know, they want more than that. They want to be able to get that 1st place alongside it, that Blade of Champions. So hopefully with a big game here, it can kind of push themselves up.
But of course, they're not going to be the only ones trying to get a really big performance in these last couple of lobbies. Vico, Veno, Flixie, just rolling around the outskirts of Outlaw Oasis. It's going to be tough for other teams to really stop their current flow, but Veno, he just wants prime positioning. Even it comes at a slight cost, a little bit of damage, but they're rolling through.
You know, this game, they need to put themselves in 2nd because we know what Vico, Veno, and Flixie truly want. They want to win this major like the rest of them. And to do that, going into this, you know, 2nd to last game that we're witnessing right now, they need to put themselves in at least 2nd place so they have a good chance of taking 1st in that last match. If they put themselves into 2nd here, I would not be surprised if they land on Pablo, Fordoxy, and Chino in the last match. But to do so, they need to get a good amount of points here. Now, they are above. They've gotten an elimination, but that's just the start. Merstache, on the other hand, Grippe gets knocked down. But so does Merstache, Swizzy as well, and it's all up to Queasy. A huge game leading into this match. Put them in 5th place, but now potentially gonna go down early.
And Queasy is just chasing Clubshy. He wants this so badly. Anything to continue their run inside of that top 5 of the leaderboard. But Queasy, he's running out of time. He's running out of HP. The Storm's gonna finish off what Glubshy didn't even need to do. And Glubshy will be the only survivor from that exchange. Trouble's definitely starting to pick up here, though, for Pablo, Fordoxy, and Chino. They don't necessarily have the HP that they'd probably want to right now, but more than enough resources, more than enough heals. They'll be able to build back up, no problem. It's largely just dealing with some of the congestion piling around them, but they'll get some great shots in onto Faded. They can tell that box fight's getting scrappy. They don't have to get up close and personal just yet, though. They'll opt for the free rotate while those teams are preoccupied. Darm, Demus, luckily avoiding the view of Pablo, Fordoxy, and Chino. They might have actually chosen to collapse, but this team is just full on dead set on getting into the next zone.
Yeah, you got to be careful when the 7th zone pulls to the uncongested side and you know a majority of the lobby is going to be rotating. You do not want to be the last trios to get in. So great job, you know, seeing that and being able to base up quickly. Now they do have that, you know, chance to look back and shoot the trios rotating on in a bit late. Cammy close to them, no shield to his name.
Oh, this is tough for Seti, Cammy, and Hari, though. They're just smushed between Moneymaker's team and Fordoxy's, and they don't look like they're in a position to fight either of them, but we'll have to revisit exactly what's going down over there. Kiruo, Volko, Cringe, they've managed to find a somewhat isolated spot on the side of this hill face, a little bit closer towards the dead side. Panzer, Thomas, Uppel, eating a few tags, returning a few tags. Vico, Flixie, Veno, just trying to make sure that they're in a position to take over high ground, and Navahollow nearly going down. but will manage to just stay standing, even if just barely. Veno, all the while, still pressuring onto Noms. Twy might not have shield, but it's a 2 versus 1 that Veno doesn't want to tango with just yet. Height was all Veno was after in the first place, and forcing out a Hollow's team downwards means that they have open reign towards it.
Come on, pull zone, pull zone. They pull it. Okay, this is massive for Vico, Veno, and Flixie. They played for the odds. They pulled 8th zone here, but they're below. Please don't let being 28 below lead to your demise when you're so close to closing this out and pushing yourself up that leaderboard. All they have to do are connect a few shots. The issues from the early game led them to not have the best spare shields. They really need to do a bit of damage here. The odds have been in their favor for this match, but if they keep on ticking, it's going to be difficult. You can see Walks not in a great position at all.
This is a terrible spot for Walks in comparison to what we're witnessing from Veno's team. And sure, Veno's team just barely above that damage threshold, but they still have all 3 players. Walks has a solo down to his last small shield potion. Feels like it's only a matter of seconds before somebody takes notice of his current position, and sure enough, Walks will fall. But Veno, Flixie, Vico, they can't afford to let up. They're now holding separate angles on height. They're trying to apply whatever damage they can, and just like that, they jump well above what they need for the damage threshold. They can't get comfortable, though. They know that there's still teams underneath them, could potentially be looking to chop them out. And they want to hold the high ground for as long as possible.
Demus Pick Storm doing a great job just trying to get a bit of damage in on the players rotating through. Savage incredibly low, has to be careful as he gets dropped as well. Shot away from getting knocked. As we take a look at how they've been causing disruption here throughout this late game. Tidy getting knocked down. Quick points for them. Where will this first moving pull towards? Is it going to pull towards Kami Sedihara? Is it going to pull towards Vico, Veno, Flixie? And yes, it will. The double pull from this trio. They claimed it. Kind of scared Kami away and now got the zone pullback. So can they hold on? I mean, Queasy's not in the lobby. Vanya is, though, and we know they like going for wins.
Poor Fernando. Sometimes you just see these solos in the low ground and you just gotta feel for them because it's like impossible to know which way to actually run. Everybody just trying to look for pickoffs as they make their rotates. But Veno, Vico, Flixie, they've definitely got the zone RNG on their side. And for Doxy, Pablo, Chino, they've got to hold down this secondary height position instead. They can't look for a height challenge. Not even sold that they would even want to go that way, though. Their build's a little bit low. A refresh certainly needs to be found. And sooner rather than later here is Pablo, Chino for Doxy, managing to go unnoticed. That is until Chino gets knocked in the process, though. Vico saw him in the final moments, but they have been chopped. Vico, though, won't lose any HP to fall damage. They were prepared for that. And Pablo for Doxy, they've got to put on a crazy performance here if they want to hold that spot on the leaderboard.
Oh, Vico jumps into a full trio. The 1v3, they were out of materials. He knew he had to make a massive play to come back here, but Flixie is going to be able to pick up one. It's going to be enough mats to push them to zone, but are they still holding on? Yes, there's not a single trio contesting them now. They're able to build on in. The zone pulled far, but they did what they had to continue above.
They're full tarping out. Pixie, Marius, Vanya, they'll be able to get a revive off, so they're still going to be a trio intact for the time being. But Pablo for Doxy, they're just hoping that they can get a refresh. They're trying to make sure that they don't fall to polling Demon's Darm, but they get caught off instead by Frenex's team. And now it's for Doxy, coned up, isolated, hoping that Demon's Darm and Pix don't realize where he's at. He wants to see if he can get a Siphon Tag in, but it's not going to be the case. Runs in straight into the hands of Avahalo, who was just hiding in the backside.
Pixie, Marius, Vanya, we talked about it. We know that they like playing for that victory royale. They have now overtaken the high ground. This is what they need with Fredoxy left alone. Veno going down as well. The whole trio being eliminated. Now's the chance for Marius, Pixie, and Vanya to push themselves closer to that first place spot on the leaderboard. All they need to do is close out this match.
They're just smothering these lower layers with as much suppressive fire as possible. Pixie, gotta be careful, but Tripburn has been knocked. Vanya credited with that one, just waiting for the siphon to tick over. Finds another elimination even, and they just have full control of height. So much material, so much to invest. The world is their oyster here in Game 11, Takata, and they are just continuing to apply that steady pressure. Marius, Vanya, Pixie, if they find that fourth victory royale, and it starts with the elimination onto Giras, the knock gonna be the opening. Pixie with a massive shot though onto Dinas, and now Seti just trying to avoid the rampage that Pixie seems to be setting himself on.
They had a tough game 10, but as Marius goes down, the pressure is increasing. Vanya, Pixie now left alone as a duo to try and clean this one up. There's 6 total players. Looks like Cammy's still on low. Shot gets connected from Pixie onto Frenic. Gets the elimination alongside it. Seti, Cammy now a duo down below. It's
Seti,
a full trio.
Cammy, Hardy, they're all so strong when they play together. But Pixie and Vanya, they're still a big part of this conversation. They still have a couple of mats to play with here. And Pixie waiting for that perfect shot. He's got to be as precise as ever, though. He can't let this one slip. But Seti, Cammy, Hardy, they're not looking to lose another one. They want their victory royale. Vanya gonna manage to jump ahead. Seti trying to run back. Seti don't get away, though. And Vanya, right as we thought that Cammy, Seti, and Hardy might have a chance to close this one out, it is shut down. That dream just slipping away from them.